Elenco article The Book of Vanci, lecture by MD Sufyan Ahmed, cameraman and editing by Basir Ahmed.
Now I am going to talk about the background and history of the Book of Vanci. The Book of Vanci is a part of the Silapatikaram, the tale of an anklet by Elinko article translated by R. Pratipsarthi. Silapatikaram is the earliest Tamil epic, and this epic divided into three books or three parts. The first part is the Book of Puka, the second part is the Book of Mathuri, the third part is the Book of Vanci. Silapatikaram is considered as an Indian classical epic, and this epic originally had been written in the Tamil language and then it translated into the English language. Now I talk about the Tamil literature. Tamil literature is a body of writings in Tamil. It is called Dravidian language of India and Sri Lanka. Dravidian languages are a language family spoken by more than 250 million people, mainly in southern India and northern Sri Lanka. Sanskrit and Tamil is the oldest literature in India. Now we talk about the Tamil literature which began around 600 BC, which approximately marked the beginning of the Sangam age, means one period which is considered as ancient Tamil Nadu and Kerala and parts of Sri Lanka. It is also called Sangam poems, were composed in South India. Sangam age derived its name from the three successive Buddhist Sangam or poetic assemblies which produced almost entire bulk of literary work of the time available to us now, and this collection contained 2381 poems written by 473 poets. The post-Sangam period from the 2nd century to the 6th century, and during this time so many epics had been written. Among these, the most important epic is Silapatikaram, or we can say the epic of the anklet. Now I talk about the feature of Indian classical literature along with discuss the characteristic feature of the Book of Vanci. We can say the Book of Vanci deals with the Indian mythology. The Book of Vanci mentions idea-oriented. The Book of Vanci describes the human character as divine. In the Book of Vanci, we find woman ruled. A woman is the hero. Book of Vanci discusses the poetry, music, dance. In Book of Vanci deals with the involvement of gods and goddesses. In the Book of Vanci describes the common human being. Book of Vanci also depicts the love with morality. The Book of Vanci deals with the history of kings and queens. Book of Vanci talk about the war. Book of Vanci portrays the human values. The Book of Vanci also deals with the concept of rebirth and cycle of birth and death. We also find in the Book of Vanci that how is Kanki as a human, and later she became and occupied the god position. Another most important concept of the Book of Vanci are Akam and Puram. Akam is represent scenes of domestic, individual, styles, personal relations, as also emotions that include phases of love and erotic impulses. The Puram is outer world, the realism of politics and heroic deed with scenes of imperial ambition. Now I want to talk about the brief summary of the book of Pukar and the book of Madhuri, just only for connect the book of Vanci with these two books. The first book is the book of Pukar. In the book of Pukar kingdom, during the period of Chola king, in this book, Kanki and Kaplan are newly married couple and they love to each other and they living in bliss. After that, Kaplan meets Matbi, who was a courtesan. As result, he falls in love with her and leaves Kanki and moves and lives with Matbi. Kanki is heartbroken, but she was chaste woman. But one day during the time of Indra god, who is the reign of God, in this occasion people arrange the race competition. In this competition, Kablan sing a poem which song her lover must be them sing a song about a man who betrayed his lover. After that, Kablan feels Matbi is unfaithful to him and leaves her. Kanki is still waiting for him. She takes him back. The second book is the book of Madhuri. In this book, we find that Kanki and Kablan now both are leave the city and travel to Madhuri of Panti kingdom. Kablan, who was a dynamic character, he changed his mind time to time. He confesses his mistake to Kanki, and error is he leaves her for few days, and duration of this time he loved with a Matvi, but as a woman she was kind-hearted and chastity. She forgive him, and she also tells him grief and pain which he gave her. Then she encourages her husband to rebuild their life together and gives him one of her jewel anklet to sail to raise starting capital. Kablam sells it to merchant, but the merchant falsely frames him as having stolen the anklet from the queen. The king arrests Kaplan and then executes him without the due checks and processes of justice. When he does not return home, Kanki goes searching for him and she protests the injustice and then proves Kaplan's innocence by the throwing in the court the other jeweled anklet of the pair. For this aspect, the text also called the tale of an anklet. She was shouting and crying. This reason people gathered and became a wrath and anger and lost her sense and tearing off her breast from the chest and throwing it at the gathered public. As a result, all Madhuri city is burned to the ground because of her curse. The anger and fire of Kanki kills everyone except only Brahmins, good men, cow, truthful women, cripples, old men, and children. The third book is the Book of Vanci. I would like to make the 7 video lectures and it will be uploaded as soon as possible. Within this 7 lecture, I will be covered the details an explanation and summary of the whole contents of the Book of Vanci.